Welcome aboard, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here with you on Metaphysical Thursday. Love the sound of that. Watch the live stream, why don't you? The drgliddenshow.tv. How about that? The drgliddenshow.tv. I think I got that right. The drgliddenshow.tv is where you want to be. What we need in this world right now is intellectual authenticity. We need intellectual integrity. Quite frankly, we just need integrity. And I don't care what part of the world you're dealing with. You need integrity if you're in a relationship. You need integrity if you're a business person. You need integrity. We need integrity across the board. We do not have any when it comes to science. We don't have any intellectual integrity because what we have in the world, in point of fact, in point of truth, are physical phenomena, the stuff that we can measure and see and feel and wrap our minds around. And then there are metaphysical phenomena, those things which are not subject to the laws of, or they're not measurable. Things are not measurable. So, for instance, God, right? I mean, the most common metaphysical phenomenon is God. Last time I looked, nobody was ever able to measure or even prove the existence of God. You can't prove the existence of a metaphysical phenomenon, hence its metaphysicalness. You can't prove the existence of a metaphysical phenomenon or phenomenon with any type of objective criteria. You can't, prove the existence of God. You can't even prove that you love your wife or your husband or your mother or your father or your brother or your sister. You can't prove it. You might know it into your bones, but you can't prove it. You could have an out-of-the-body near-death experience, go to heaven, go to hell, go to purgatory, go to wherever you go to nirvana, go to Kaivalya, and come back to your senses, so to speak, and you would not be able to prove what you had just experienced to anybody. And if people weren't of the same ilk as you and they had no idea what you were talking about, they would categorize you as a kook, right? So, metaphysical phenomena are those things which are not subject to the normal laws of measurement. We have physics and we have metaphysics. If any medical professional has told you that they believe in God and they have an MD after their name or they're a nurse practitioner, they are hypocrites. Because MD-directed medicine, by virtue of its philosophy, remember, MDs are not trained in medicine, they're trained in allopathic medicine, and allopathic medicine has a unique philosophy. Allopathic medicine argues that if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist, and since nobody's ever measured God, God doesn't exist. So therefore, your body does not have any spiritual essence to it whatsoever. Zero, zip, nada, none. And yet the MDs are unable to tell you what brings light to the eyes of the living. Ever seen somebody die? Ever been in the presence when somebody actually died in that moment in time? The light leaves their eyes. Well, what's that all about? What was it that gave light to the eyes? The MDs don't know. What is it that gives light to our dreams? The MDs don't know. What about out-of-body experiences? What about all of the millions, if not trillions, of automatic biochemical processes which are happening every minute of every day? What's behind the architecture of those? Who's directing the show inside the human body? The MDs can't explain it. And yet, then they go to church on the weekend, or they go to temple, or they do their Buddhist meditations, or their Hindu ceremonies over the weekend, or whenever they do it. And in order to worship or attempt to touch the hem of the garment of God. And then they go back to work and they don't believe in God. And then in their private lives, they try to have some type of relationship with God. And then they go back to work and they don't believe in the existence of God. This is without integrity. I did a personal training through an organization called Landmark Education years and years ago. They have a really great program called The Forum. I recommend everybody look into it. Really good personal development stuff. Really, really great stuff. But and one of the things that they talk about in that course is being out of integrity, right? Doing one thing and saying that you're going to do something and not doing it, or telling somebody you're lying, basically, or not following through on what you're about. Being a Democrat when you're talking to some people, and then being a Republican when you're talking to somebody else in order just to suit the mood. There's no integrity there. Well, there's no integrity in the way that medicine is delivered here. There's no integrity. If your MD tells you that they are a religious person, then they're hypocrites. And we put up with it, and we give them a pass, and nobody ever holds their feet to the fire or questions them about this. And this is one of the reasons why we have such unbelievably poor outcomes, because there is zero integrity in medicine. Zero. Quite frankly, there's zero integrity in the entire science department, scientific circles of the world. Old, outdated theories exist, right? And just because somebody years ago said that things were such and such and such, then the scientific method closes people's minds. So rather than opening people's minds and really actually doing an objective assessment of the situation and trying to come to a conclusion, we don't do that. We just roll out the stuff that we were taught in school, and we just go by the party line, right? I mean, what is it that causes tornadoes? It's not intersecting winds at altitude, I can tell you that. Nobody knows what causes tornadoes. What is it that causes atoms to spin? What is it that causes electrons to spin around the atom? What is it that causes the moon to go around the earth? What is it that causes the earth to rotate on its axis? What is it that causes the entire solar system to move through the Milky Way galaxy? What is it that causes the Milky Way galaxy itself to spin? What is it? What is it that causes that? Well, the scientific method will tell you. The party line is that after the Big Bang Theory, when everything got shot out of nothingness and came into existence, how the heck did that happen? Again, they're unable to explain that. Because there's no friction in space, the momentum that particles came into the universe with just carries through because there's no friction. Right? I mean, if you go up into space and hit a 9-iron, that golf ball is going to just continue to go forever. It's never, ever, ever going to stop. But that's an incorrect notion. According to the laws of gravity, there's so much mass in the universe that if it was in fact only the velocity of the Big Bang imparted to particles, sheer gravitational force by now, which is trillions of years after the fact, by the way. A long, long, long time has gone by. Gravitational forces would have brought everything to a halt. So the Earth would no longer be going around the sun. It would just be in one place. The sun would be in one place, and everything would have coalesced. This is, by the way, the same reason that makes the moon show one face to the Earth all the time, right? Why is that? It's because there's a gravitational effect. I forget the name of it off the top of my head. But because the moon has been in proximity to the gravitational field of the Earth for so long, the moon spins on its axis in exactly the same amount of time that it goes around the Earth. And their tidal gravitation or something, I forget, there's a name for this. But it's the reason that the moon, doesn't show us all 360 degrees of itself. It's only one face all the time. Because the moon goes around the Earth in the exact same amount of time that it takes the moon to revolve around its axis once. Very interesting stuff. But my point here is that there is no integrity in scientific circles. Because nobody investigates this. Nobody even looks at it. Nobody tries to come to terms with what causes things. They just see things, and then they interpret things based on what they were taught with no mind towards real honest investigation. And real honest investigation must include both sides of the coin. It must include physical phenomena, and it must include metaphysical phenomena. Because the universe is both. But scientists only look at one side of the coin. They only look at one side of the coin. Quantum physicists arguably kind of sort of get into the metaphysical area, but they don't do it on purpose. They do it kind of by default. Einstein's fuzzy action at a distance is a spooky action at a distance is a perfect example of this. But my point here is that your medical doctor, unless they're an atheist, if your MD is an atheist, then they have integrity. But if your MD believes in God, if your MD is of any religious persuasion whatsoever, any spiritual persuasion whatsoever, then they're a hypocrite. And because nobody holds their feet to the fire, because nobody calls them on their hypocrisy, they are able to practice old-fashioned, outdated, substandard, archaic, juvenile, dangerous, and expensive therapeutics. And so they do. Because they do not have intellectual integrity. They don't. Holistic physicians do. By the way, every other system of medicine on planet Earth is holistic except what the MDs do. And every other system of medicine on the planet has a metaphysical interpretation, understanding, tries to go there, tries to articulate what's happening behind the scenes. Acupuncturists do it, with the energy body, the energy meridians in the body. Homeopaths do it with their understanding of the vital force. Naturopaths do it with their understanding of the body's God-given natural ability to fix itself, but not the MDs. And this is why it is of maximum importance that you fire your MD now, because their view of how your body works is juvenile, old-fashioned, outdated, and dangerous. Stick around, folks. Let's get to the phones right now, to studio, and see what's cracking. Rita from California is calling with a question. Hey, Rita, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, from Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Oh, Canada, I read it wrong. It's the end of the week, and I haven't had any coffee today. See, that's my problem.
Well, CA is CA. Doesn't matter if it's California or Canada.
Oh, Canada. We love Canada.
That's good.
How are you guys?
I'm calling back because I phoned in a few weeks ago, and I will go over what I said because I don't expect you would remember.
Okay.
I phoned in because I had been on your program, and then I switched from the osteo powder to the liquid.
Yeah.
And gradually I started going back to having problems with my bowel again, which I didn't have when I started with you. Like when I started with the OsteoFX powder, my problems went away is what I'm trying to say. And then when I switched to the liquid, it gradually went back to where it was before.
With diarrhea and loose stool, right?
Yeah, in the end, it got to that, and then I phoned in, and Mike said to take the liquid at night with some orange juice, not water, but just some orange juice, and I did that, and I really had diarrhea.
Okay, so why did I tell you to switch? I mean, there must have been a calcium deficiency thing that was at play, like an arthritic thing or restless leg thing or high blood pressure thing?
No, you didn't tell me to switch. I did that on my own because I was having a bit of headachy stuff, and I don't know, a few other things where I can't remember now were going on, and I decided to switch on my own. You didn't recommend it. Okay,
so I mean, how do you feel generally speaking besides the loose stool from the calcium?
Well, what happened was I got diarrhea and I couldn't get rid of it. It continued, and so I phoned in, and you suggested that I go, after the bowel calmed down, that I go back and try each day a different thing and see what was causing it.
Got it. Okay, so did you do that?
Yes, and the first day I took, as you suggested, 1 scoop of the BTT.
Yep.
water. And that night I had, no, let me see, was it that night? I'm trying to remember exactly what I'm saying here. Within 15 minutes, I was in the bathroom.
Okay, so that's pretty much nails it down for Beyond Tangy Tangerine.
Yeah, and the other thing that I noticed at the same time, I've been having trouble with my nose, like sores in my nose.
Yeah.
And I noticed that there was more blood in my nose and more bigger area at that time too. And I'm going to throw this in because I don't know if it makes any difference or tells you anything. I'm a little nervous, as you can tell.
No, you're doing a great job. You're doing a really, really good job.
I took an Epsom salt bath yesterday.
Yeah.
I think I fell asleep in there, and so I was in for a long time. And when I came out, I noticed more blood in my nose. So I don't know if that has anything.
Okay. So after you reintroduced the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, right, and then you had loose stools again.
Yes.
Did you then wait a day and then reintroduce another supplement?
The next day, I tried the essential fatty acids, and I had no problem with those.
Okay.
And then on the third day, I tried the OsteoFX, and I had no problem with it. I just took one scoop.
Okay. Of the powder.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I took the fatty acids and the osteo powder, and I'm okay taking those together.
Okay. And were you taking anything else, selenium or Killer Biotic or Nightly Essence or anything?
What I had, because I had diarrhea for, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks. So finally I went on some probiotics, not yours. It was suggested by somebody else. And then I started taking, because I was out of the root belly.
Yeah.
And after a while, that finally kind of calmed it down enough for me to test it.
Okay, understood. So now we've kind of cleared the deck, and we're of the understanding that it's the Beyond Tangy Tangerine that's the culprit, right?
I'm not perfectly confident, but it's I don't have diarrhea.
Okay. All right. Stick with me, Rita. I've got a lot to tell you when we come back. I appreciate the call very much. Hey, everybody, guess what? It's the luckiest day of your life. This is Fire Your MD Now. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Could listen to Carlos all day, don't you agree? Talking to Rita from California. Why do I say that all the time? Canada. Rita from up in my favorite province of Canada, Alberta. Trying to figure out what's going on here. Well, listen, Rita, where there's smoke, there's fire. And so.
I'm listening.
Right. So when you eliminate all of the nutritional supplements and give your digestive tract time to settle down, right, and then you reintroduce the supplements one at a time, well, it's easy to know what's causing the gastrointestinal upset, and in this case, it's the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. So are you taking the orange label or the blue label? Are you taking the red crystals or the orange crystals?
You're talking about the tangerine?
Yeah.
It's Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Citrus, Peach.
All right, it's the peach infusion? Okay. So this means, now when you took that, how did you take it? Do you remember?
I took it with a scoop in about 12 ounces of water, and I took it really slowly.
Okay, so that's an indication that so what this means is that your digestive tract is messed up because it can't absorb the Beyond Tangy Tangerine efficiently. And that's not because the Beyond Tangy Tangerine has anything bad in it. If it did have anything bad in it, everybody who took it would get loose stool, right? But so this is actually a diagnostic indication that your intestinal tract needs extra help. So given this set of circumstances, what I would do is for the rest of June and all of July, I would stop the Beyond Tangy completely. Just don't take it. Take everything else as we recommended.
The digestive enzymes and those too, and the
everything else.
Okay.
The OsteoFX, the essential fatty acids, everything else you were taking. Okay.
Okay.
And you must dial in the gluten-free lifestyle. Have you done that?
Yes.
Okay, very, very, very good. Now, one thing that you can do here to sweeten the pot and to move things along would be for the entire month of July, get 2 bottles of Mackie Plus. That's MAQUI Plus. 2 bottles of Mackie Plus.
MAQUI Plus, okay.
Yeah. And take 1 ounce of that twice a day.
1 ounce twice.
Yeah. Now, the Mackie Plus will soothe and help your intestinal tract to optimize its structure and function. And that's what needs to happen here. Because, through decades of unwitting consumption of wheat, barley, rye, and oats, which wasn't your fault, it was your medical doctor's fault. Through decades of eating that stuff, you've hurt your intestinal tract, and that's the organ that absorbs nutrients into your body.
Right.
And that's why you're getting diarrhea. So we need to give that a little extra help here, and a really good way to do that is with 2 things. One is the Mackie Plus, and the other would be the probiotics, which you're already doing.
Okay. So how much of the probiotics are you recommending?
Well, I don't know which brand you got, but generally speaking, I would take twice the recommended dosage on the bottle.
Okay.
Before bed.
Okay.
Twice the recommended dose on the bottle before bed, but you should only need to do that for, So I would do the Mackie Plus in addition to the probiotics for the entire month of July.
Okay, and the Mackie Plus is a liquid. I don't have to put it in water or anything?
Yeah, you can. Depending on how it tastes pretty good. You can dilute it in a little bit of water if you want to, or put it in some juice, or mix it with tequila if you want. Okay.
I don't have any.
But yeah, 1 ounce of that twice a day on top of everything else that you're doing, and then
for the month of July, not.
Yeah, right. And then in August, when you feel rough and ready,
okay,
reintroduce the Beyond Tangy Tangerine a little bit at a time and see how you do.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm really happy to try this, and I'm really happy that I got on, and I have something to, somebody to tell me something to.
Well, yeah, and arguably, right, there is a bottleneck here at Longevity, right? And this is why I'm on the radio for 2 hours a day. Shortly, I'm going to be on for 3 hours a day. God willing, Dr. Wallach's on for 2 hours a day. And we have lots of support in my back office. And by the way, very, very, very shortly, as part of the subscription service on my website, we're going to be rolling out a forum where all of these questions will have been answered. And so when you're up against a sticky wicket like this in a couple of weeks, you'll just be able to go to the forum, find an answer to this question, and it'll be easy breezy.
That'll be fantastic, because it's really, when you don't know what to do, it's really helpful to have a place to go.
Yeah, absolutely, positively, and that's why we're here. And, because in our own defense here, because we are a low-budget operation, right, we're learning as we go. And the technology that we had to develop, or not develop, but the technology that we had to secure, and then learn how to use, and then put into place so that it wouldn't crash. I mean, it was a really pretty complicated thing, but I have an awesome tech team.
Well, that's fantastic.
We've got your back, so keep your fingers crossed, Rita. I appreciate your support. And give me a call back every once in a while. Let me know how it's going. I appreciate you very much. Let's see who's up next. From Calgary to Kansas City. Uh-oh. Cheryl has a friend with a brain bleed. OMG. Hey, Cheryl, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden.
Hey, Cheryl, what's going on?
Well, I have a friend that had a brain bleed about a month ago.
Yikes.
And she also has a Baker's cyst, but they're not treating that right now. But she's on 6 different medications. Do you need to know them?
No.
Okay. And she is on on Synthroid for her thyroid. And I know that you probably would recommend the Heart and Brain Pack. And I ordered all the products but the selenium because I didn't know how that would mix with her Synthroid.
Oh, well, that makes you the smartest woman in the United States, because you're absolutely right. Synthroid is thyroid hormone 4. It's T4. And there are a number of thyroid hormones, but the two biggest ones that we pay attention to, and I don't really know why, but we do, is T3 and T4. And Synthroid is just T4. The body makes both T3 and T4. Interestingly enough, T3 is 4 times as strong and effective as T4. T3 is stronger and more effective than T4. But the MDs, in their old-fashioned, juvenile, outdated, dangerous understanding of physiology, and because of their genuflection at the altar of the pharmaceutical companies, they don't question anything. And so the pharmaceutical companies roll out a product that's just T4. Far be it from the MD to question authority or to put up any type of a fuss about that. So the body will transform T4 into T3, which is its preferred thyroid hormone. But guess what it needs to do that? It needs selenium. So if you are selenium deficient, the Synthroid that you're going to be taking is going to be having less than profound effects on the human body. Now, you would think that if the pharmaceutical companies, who know all of this, by the way, I mean, the guys working at the pharmaceutical companies are pretty smart buckaroos. They know this. They know that selenium is necessary, and so you would think if they were humanitarian, if they really were out, if they had your back, that they would include selenium in with the T4. You would think that they would do that. That would just make sense, right? But they don't. Why don't they do that? Because if they did that, they would need less. The people would need less of the prescription. So they would sell less drugs if they did that. So they don't do that. But it's a point very well taken. If anybody is taking Synthroid, and for whatever reason they start supplementing with a bioavailable selenium supplement, all of a sudden the Synthroid is going to be working 2, sometimes 3 times as effectively as it was in the past. So we need to be mindful of that, but absolutely positively you want to give selenium. But what I counsel everybody to do who's taking Synthroid, and then they start a medical nutrition program which invariably has selenium in it, just read up on the side effects of an overdose of Synthroid, right? And just know what those are, because it's entirely possible that just by adding selenium into the bargain, your Synthroid is going to start working too strongly and you're going to need to back off on the dosage. And if you don't know what that feels like, you'll think that you'll be all, worried for no reason when it's simply too much Synthroid. And so, but it's a point well taken. But it's more important for somebody to have more selenium and less Synthroid, right? So there's no harm and no foul here in recommending somebody who has a thyroid issue to take selenium supplementation in order to support and promote the structure and function of their thyroid. So, and we don't really know, there's no real kind of hard and fast rule here. So generally what we do, the recommendation here would be 1 Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and 1 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. But all of this begs the question, Cheryl, does anybody know what caused the brain bleed? Do they know what caused that?
No, I don't. I don't think they know, but I will tell you this woman has been under an extreme amount of stress.
Yeah, well, life is a great big bowl of stress, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, whenever there's extracurricular bleeding in the body where there shouldn't be, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, this could be a burst little blood vessel in the brain. It could be a thing as the clotting cascade in the body doesn't have enough nutrients in order to function properly. So the first thing that I would do is I would tell her to floss her teeth. And if she bleeds, if her gums bleed when she flosses her teeth, then it is entirely possible that the bleeding in the brain is caused by a simple calcium deficiency. Mm. And of course, MDs will overlook that because they're idiots. Well, they're not idiots, but they're Neanderthals in their understanding of pathophysiology. So whenever you have bleeding anywhere where there shouldn't be bleeding, like, spotting between your periods, or like a super heavy menstrual flow, or your gums bleed when you floss them, right? Or, you prick your finger on a rose bush and it bleeds for an hour, right? Instead of just clotting up. That's a calcium deficiency. So in addition to the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and selenium, I would give one extra bottle of either Beyond OsteoFX or the Cal-Toddy every month. That's how I would handle it.
Okay. Now, none of these will interfere with the medication she's on. They've got her pretty loaded down, and she doesn't like it, but...
No, quite the contrary. And this is again, in a perfect world, it would be mandatory for MDs to prescribe nutritional supplements with drugs, because how do drugs work? They work by upregulating or messing with biochemical pathways in the body, and which are made from vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and essential fatty acids. So the longer that you're on drugs, especially more than 2, the more deficient you become in your nutrients, and the less effective the drugs are, which is why they need to add another drug or increase the dosage. When you give your body medical nutrition while you're taking prescription medications, they work better. So it's exactly the opposite of what you think. But it's a great question, which makes you the smartest woman in the United States. Stick around, folks. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Finishing out the first hour here. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health. If you haven't done it already, check out my website, please. What are you waiting for? drglidden.com. That's Glidden, just like the paint. No relation, drglidden.com. Check it out. Become an insider. Why don't you? $20 a month. Give you immediate access to 100+ hours of archived health webinars. 3+ hours a week of live health webinars. Next one tonight, by the way. Worldwide live chat tonight. 8 o'clock Central Time. drglidden.com. Check it out. If you'd like to call the show and talk to me via the radio, 844-374-5433. That's 844-374-5433. Interestingly, we do have lines open, and that never happens. So give us a call. And if you're in the chat room, because there's 100 people in the chat room and there's too many questions for me to get to today, call the show. 844-374-5433. Let's go to Tom in Maryland. Hey, Tom, thanks for the call. You are live.
Thank you, Dr. Glidden. Thanks for taking my call. I'm a new listener. I just happened today to miss the first part of your show, and it was the most important because I just so happened to be looking for a new doctor that's not Western medicine bent doctor, someone who's a naturopath, more alternative. But I wanted to clarify, did you say that if a doctor is religious that it's not a good doctor to go to?
No, not at all. What I'm saying is any MDs are trained in a reductionistic method. And there's basically two philosophical schools of thought in medical science in the world right now. There's reductionism and there's holism. Every other doctor in the world, naturopath, homeopath, chiropractor, Ayurvedic practitioner, traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncturist, etc., every medical profession in the world espouses a holistic method, a holistic philosophy, except the MD. The MD is trained and espouses reductionism. Now, reductionism argues God doesn't exist. Reductionism argues if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. If you can't objectively prove it, it doesn't exist. So that's why the MDs don't believe that the body is inhabited by any type of a spiritual soul force energy thing. They think all this energy medicine, all this acupuncture stuff, all this homeopathy stuff, all this vital force stuff is just a fiction. You know, it's all placebo.
Okay. So I got to be backwards.
Yeah, so it's ironic, right? Because most MDs are religious, but that's hypocritical on their part. I mean, that's like being a communist at work and then, Democratic at home. I mean, it's nuts. And there's no integrity there, which is why we have a giant meltdown in the medical system, because the medical philosophy that MDs espouse is ill-suited for, any type of chronic illness. I mean, they're the wrong dog for the hunt.
Now, I know the words are different, but do you think it's a coincidence that hypocrite and Hippocratic oath
That's a good one, Tom. And I don't know why I didn't think that one up myself. Man, I should have. I don't know how I missed that one. But yeah, man, I mean, you're right on there. So listen, if we have just a minute left in this segment, if I can be so bold as to ask, are you suffering with any like chronic health conditions now that you need help with?
It's a serious one, and I'll make it quick. Do you provide private consultations for a fee?
I do, and most of the time it's not necessary. But but I do. It's $200 for an hour, and we do it all over the phone. You have to sign a contract with me, and I'll give you a consultation. If you'd like to set that up, 855-347-3696, 855-347-3696. We can get that started as soon as Monday. I'll look forward to that phone call. Appreciate you. Good luck, whatever you decide to do. Ladies and gentlemen, hour 2 coming up. Don't even think about touching that dial. It's the second hour, ladies and gentlemen. Hour 2. That's hour 2 coming at you. Streaming live. The drglidden.show.tv. Check it out. I think Jeff is still with us. Hey, Jeff, are you still there?
Yes, Dr. Glidden. I started the program in February. Are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm loud.
Okay,
you're coming in loud and clear.
Okay, I started the program in February. Before that, I took about 6 canisters of Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Diabetic, type 2. I got in, and that week before, I got in with Dr. Wallach, and he got me on the blood sugar pack, Ultimate Daily, and I listened to you, and I decided to start taking selenium.
Yeah.
And I take 6 of those a day, and I take 6 HGHs a day, and I feel that some of my problem is my bowel problems, because it seems like my blood pressure's up when I get constipated.
Yeah.
My blood pressure goes up and my blood sugars go up more. And I think if I get my bowels straightened out, a lot of other things will straighten out. So.
Okay, well, are you taking blood sugars on a daily basis, or do you just do the hemoglobin A1C?
Daily basis. Yeah, I take 10 units of Lantus, the long-acting stuff, and that's about all I take, because I get too low if I take anything else.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, have you noticed any objective change with the numbers?
I have noticed the numbers are going down.
Okay. More importantly, how do you feel?
Oh, I feel real good. If people tell me people who haven't seen me in 6 months don't even recognize me, because I was down to 138 pounds when I'm on dialysis also.
Okay,
and I'm on dialysis, and I heard the HGH is good for your blood vessels too, and I thought, well, I'll just take some of that too.
Okay, so when you go in for dialysis, of course, they check the blood and they adjust the machine appropriately. Yeah. Have they been able to adjust the dialysis down?
They took I'm down from 4 hours to 3 hours.
Boom.
And
okay.
they were giving me something for my thyroid, some kind of vitamin D in line, and they just told me yesterday that they weren't going to do that anymore because I didn't need it.
All right. Well, you're on the right track here.
All my labs are good. It's just the creatinine's still high, and that'll take time. I'm in it for the long haul with this nutritional therapy. So.
Okay, great. And that's exactly the way to hold it in your head, right? Because it takes a long time to build a house. You can blow up a house.
And like I said, I finally got them started to. They were saying every ounce I gained was fluid weight, and I finally talked them into raising my weight because normal weight's 170, and I was down to 140, and they kept saying, "Oh, you're gaining water weight," and I said, "No. I have no ankle problems. No, where's the fluid?" I asked them. You know.
Well, that's a good thing to understand, right? Because from their perspective, right? I mean, they're like Neanderthals who are watching planes fly by in the sky, and they don't know what to make out of that, right? It's like, what is that? It's a big.
They were claiming my blood pressure was due to fluid, and I said, no, it ain't due.
It's nothing to do with it. So you're right, they're wrong, and it should be a very interesting experience for you in the next year to see how they respond to your continued improvement, right? Mm-hmm. So that should be very telling. But in any event, really glad that you called.
I'm going to confound the wise.
I think it's a great idea. I know you are. I mean, you already are. And it's going to just increase and increase and increase. So, but it's a point that's well taken. Now, I've had a number of remarkable healings in my life, two of which were with colonic irrigation and cleaning out of the colon. So you're a candidate for a colonic hydrotherapy treatment, or 3 or 4. So
does that herbal rainforest work for that, or is that?
Well, it can. I think what would be better for you, if it's in the budget, or more importantly, if there's somebody in your town that does this, you want to do a Yellow Pages search or a Google search for a colon hydrotherapist.
Okay. A
colon hydrotherapist. And you want to go and see them and have a minimum of 3 treatments.
Okay.
And somewhere, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I did an entire webinar on this subject, which walks you right through how to do a good kind of colon cleanse, and that's available.
Okay.
I did a 60-minute webinar on that. It's in my subscription service on my website. Now, one thing that you should be doing is eating an apple a day.
Okay.
Just an apple. You don't need to eat the core, but just eat an apple with the skin, because the fiber in an apple and the enzymes that are in the apple are really, really good to help move things along. But to kind of jumpstart the system, so to speak, I would go have a round of at least 3 colonics, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or every Monday for 3 Mondays in a row, or whatever. And after the final colonic, you should feel a remarkable difference. You might feel a remarkable difference after the first one. And then once you've kind of primed the pumps with the colonic irrigation, it sounds simple, but oftentimes, the most important things are, if you simply add an apple a day into your diet, that fiber and the enzymes should go a long way towards keeping you regular. And that's very important for proper blood sugar and proper kidney function, you bet.
They give me something called calcium acetate. They call it a binder, and that affects it too, because I'll get diarrhea once in a while because it diverts phosphorus to your intestines, and I don't know if eventually, if there's any numbers that'll knock that out eventually, or if
how do they give that, and when do you take it?
I just take it two at each meal, and that's basically what it does.
I would, if I were you. Now, you live in, where do you live? Minnesota?
Minnesota, yeah. Yes.
Well, that's interesting, because I'm licensed to practice naturopathic medicine in Minnesota.
All right.
How about that? But regretfully, we don't have prescriptive rights in Minnesota. I have prescriptive rights in Washington State, have prescriptive rights in California, and if you were my patient in Washington State, I would tell you to stop taking that. But I can't do that because Minnesota doesn't allow me to. So you may want to take that into consideration and just see what happens, because given the fact that you're taking all 90 essential nutrients plus extra calcium plus everything that you're doing, that is just a little silly, quite frankly.
Yeah. The only thing they watch close is the potassium. They whine when I get a little high in potassium. But
and you want to have a lecture on that, because Wallach does a much better job at that than I do. I would call Dr. Wallach on his radio show.
Okay.
And ask him what's up with the potassium thing. Why do the people that are doing your dialysis, why are they so concerned about potassium, and why are they wrong? Okay.
Right.
because they are.
I'll take some rebound on Saturday and Sunday before I have a lab, rather than, because Beyond Tangy Tangerine has a lot of potassium, and that'll kind of help.
Yeah, absolutely, positively. So, I would forego, if I were you, and I'm not telling you to do this because I can't, but if it were me, I wouldn't do it. And if you were my patient in Washington State, I would tell you not to do it. Okay. But this is a relatively easy thing to know. Because,
another thing that's doing well for me is my vision. I've been on the Vision FX and plus HGH, and my vision's getting better. I still can't drive, but I can see in a few months. I think it'll improve enough. Right.
Yeah, you got to love it. That Seeing is Believing CD that Dr. Wallach recorded, that was a real eye-opener, right? Pun intended. But this is what happens, Jeff. When we support and promote the body's ability to organize and optimize its structure and function, it does, to the ability that it's able to, and it's a slow and steady recovery. Slow and steady wins the race. But I don't know if it was your...
My neuropathy in my legs is clearing up. My feet feel light. I've jumped with my feet off the ground for the first time in years. You got
to love it, man. Isn't this just great? Yeah. Yes, and I got to tell you, the best is yet to come. And I don't know if you have good intuition or what it was, but you're absolutely right that getting your large intestine cleaned out and more efficient is going to go a long way towards helping everything to accelerate forward faster. So find a colon hydrotherapist and get on board with that. And then a couple weeks later, call me back and tell me what happened.
Well, I went for like 15 years before I got sick. And then I always thought I was having gas. And when they had me in the hospital, I'd get that feeling and my blood pressure would be real high, and they'd say, "Oh, you got a blood pressure problem." I said, "Well, I thought I had gas problems."
Well, check it out, brother.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Glenn.
You're welcome, Jeff. I appreciate you very much. See, folks, isn't that something? Now, imagine what that guy's life would have been like had he not found out about us. Imagine. You think he'd be getting better? You think he'd be getting worse, right? He'd be getting worse, and he'd be looking at that a rapidly approaching cliff. And on the other side of that cliff, death, and not a pretty death either. And yet, because someone told him about us, or he heard a webinar, or he heard a radio show, or he went to a lecture, or somebody sent him a CD, or somebody called him up, he's on board, and he's recovering his health. Now, can you imagine what would happen if everybody in the United States did this? Can you imagine what would happen if everybody in the great province of Alberta did this? Can you imagine what would happen if everybody in the European Union did this? Can you imagine what would happen? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? This is why what we do is so important. And look, this isn't, some panacea cure-all magic elixir. It's not. We've never said that it is. But you see what's happening. You hear the testimonials. New-fashioned, not old-fashioned, new-fashioned, science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition for the masses, developed and delivered by licensed and regulated physicians whose wheelhouse medical nutrition is. Everybody needs to do this. We all drink purified water. We all use public sewer systems to take care of our waste. We all make sure we eat, enough calories every day. Well, there's one more thing we need to do. You need to take the 90 essential nutrients into your body appropriate for body weight. You need to stop eating food that's coming up the works. And look what happens. Stick around. Cindy in Portland is up next. Going to Portland, Oregon, where, God willing, and the creek don't rise, I am going to be in approximately 3 weeks, giving a lecture in Portland and giving a lecture in Seattle in the middle of August. Stay tuned for dates and times. Hey, Cindy, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi there. Let's see, I have 2 questions today for 2 different people, and I'll start with the first one. My friend has a bovine valve in his heart, and he also has colon removal and an ileostomy, if I'm saying that right. And he was exposed to Agent Orange when he was in Nam. Whoa. And I'm just wondering how we can help him.
Well, Agent Orange exposure produces effects when you're exposed to it. I'd have to look at it and see whether or not there are lingering residual effects. But if there are any lingering residual effects, by my way of thinking, it would be because of nutrient deficiencies which were driven by the presence of that crap in the body, and then which were never replaced. And this is the single biggest disconnect that people have with health. People think that we can magically get all of the nutrients that the human body needs just from air and water and a crappy food supply, and we can't. So, if you're exposed to something that just flushes your body out or burns up the lion's share of your nutrients that you didn't have much of to begin with, then you're going to be at an extreme nutrient deficiency, and just walking down the road of life, none of that stuff's going to be put back in. So it's kind of like the exposure to the nasty crap generates an extreme deficiency, which then persists over time. So now, anytime we see any trouble in the colon, we think wheat, barley, rye, and oats, right? That's what we think. So anybody that has any type of a digestive trouble historically, and this is a big bad voodoo daddy if he had a surgery, it's mandatory that they go on, that they eliminate the 10 bad foods. It's mandatory that this guy eliminates the 10 bad foods, number one.
Okay.
Number two, right? The healthy digestion pack. One healthy digestion pack, 2 selenium for the heart. One healthy digestion pack, 2 selenium for the heart. And 1 bottle of Maquis Plus, MAQUI Plus, per 100 pounds of body weight per month for 3 months. That's where I would start. Now, oftentimes, people that are this, and I would also give, for the first month, 2 bottles of the plant-derived minerals or the cherry mints in addition. 2 of the plant-derived minerals or the cherry mints. And if he's taking a blood pressure medication, or blood sugar medications, make sure that he measures his numbers, because I bet you they're going to come down, and he's going to need to adjust his medications downward, because he's extremely nutrient deficient and has been for a long time. His body's going to suck this stuff up, and it's going to love it. So, that's what I would do.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have time for my other question?
You betcha. We got 2 minutes left, girl, so rock and roll.
Okay, my friend Jackie is on. She's on the blood sugar pack and Z-Radical. She has had. She has MRSA, and has had 2 operations in one operation in each of her legs, where they've gone in and cleaned out infection that went into her bones.
Yikes!
And yeah, she's on Cozar. Actually, losartan, which is a generic for Cozar. She's on metformin. She's on mineral magnesium or something like that. Anyway, how can we help her?
Well, she needs blood sugar support, right? Is she type 2 diabetic?
Yes.
Okay. So remember, we don't treat illnesses here. We support organ systems, and that's a much smarter, better thing to do. So the recommendation here, she needs blood sugar support. She needs immune support. So that's a relatively easy thing to do. The recommendation would be 1 healthy blood sugar pack, 1 healthy blood sugar pack, 1 bottle of HGH Youth Complex, and 1 bottle of Killer Biotic per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Plus colloidal silver topically. And, I would liberally spray the wound area with colloidal silver. I would pack a gauze with colloidal silver and bandage it on top of the wound every night before bed. I'd do colloidal silver spray every couple of hours during the daytime externally. And, of course, eliminate the 10 bad foods. And she needs to eat a diet high in protein. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. The person who I was speaking to at the end of the last segment, we got cut off. So more protein is required here, because we need protein to increase immune function, and eggs are the protein that all other proteins are compared to, right? So eat more eggs. But, any protein source is good. Rice and beans together in a meal is a complete protein. Fish, chicken, meat, right? Just don't have meat well done. and avoid meat that has nitrates or nitrites added to it. Okay? Okay. And Barbara from Texas is up next. I wonder if she has spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle. Hey, Barbara, welcome aboard. You are live.
Thank you for taking my call. I came from the chat room, so hopefully you
very
didn't answer
good.
me on. Okay. I hope I'm not being too vague, but I'm 74 years old, and I don't want to become like a lot of the old people around me. They kind of hunch over and shuffle.
Yeah.
I find myself doing this, and I can't pinpoint it. And also, like you say, well, let's go somewhere, and they say, I don't feel like it. And I'm beginning to feel like that, too. I think, but then if I go, it's okay. But it's like, and then I get to thinking, I go somewhere, I think, oh, I'm going to pass out. Well, nothing ever happened. And I thought, I don't want to feel this way. There's got to be a reason.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. There is a reason, right? The reason that these things are starting to happen to you is because your body's completely run out of the stuff it needs to function properly. I mean, it's not really any different than if you were a gardener and, you had 2 tomato plants, and in one tomato plant you got fertilizer and you watered it every day and it had good sunlight, and the other tomato plant was growing in sand and didn't have any fertilizer. You only watered it once every 2 weeks and you kept it in the dark. Well, the tomato that you were taking care of would have much bigger, healthier tomatoes. It's the same with the human body. Your body is nutritionally deficient, and that's because we've been suffering from the cultural myth, the misconception, the medical misconception that it is possible to get everything that your body needs to function just from eating food. You can't do that. That's impossible. Then this is why everybody's sick. And I mean, this is why all of your friends are starting to go downhill in their 70s when we have the genetic potential to live to be 120 years of age. We don't even get close to that in the United States. And it's for no reason other than people are unwittingly eating all the wrong food all the time. It's kind of like putting diesel fuel in an unleaded tank. I mean, the car's going to run like crap. Nothing wrong with the car. You just put the wrong fuel in it. Well, we're putting the wrong fuel in the human body all of the time simply because we don't know any better, because your MD doesn't have any training in this, and that's a problem. And then on top of that, your body's completely undernutrified. So, this is a relatively easy thing to get on the other side of. So, I guess, Barbara, this begs the question, how much do you weigh?
155.
All right, so here's what I would do for 6 months as an experiment. And honestly, if you don't feel a great deal of difference inside the first 4 weeks, I'll eat my hat, okay?
Okay.
I mean, no kidding, because the proof of the pudding's in the eating, right?
Right.
I mean, it is. You do the right stuff, you feel better. You do the wrong stuff, you feel worse. It's really so simple and straightforward. It's kind of scary. But in any event, the recommendation for you would be you have to stop the 10 bad foods. Now, are you familiar with that list?
Yes.
Okay. And
Found it.
Okay, great. So the wheat, barley, rye, and oats got to go. You have to become gluten-free. So you can still have bread, you can still have cookies and crackers and pasta. It just has to be gluten-free, and it's a million times easier to find that stuff now than it was even 2 years ago. So become gluten-free, please, and you're going to love just how that makes you feel. Now, every month, here's what I'd like you to try for nutritional supplements. One Healthy Start Pack 2.0 liquid. One Healthy Start Pack 2.0 in the liquid form. One Healthy Start Pack 2.0 in the liquid form. And 2 bottles of liquid Glucogel Plus. 2 bottles of liquid Glucogel Plus. That's all I want you to do for the next 3 months. Every month I want you to get that stuff and take it. Now, how'd you find out about us, Barbara?
Someone gave me a Dead Doctors Don't Lie.
Do you remember who? Do you remember who?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so
I signed up with them.
All right, great. So you know how to order the stuff, right? You know what to do.
Yes,
So that's what I want you to do for the next 90 days. I cannot emphasize enough, Barbara, the importance of becoming gluten-free for you.
Okay.
Because if you don't stop eating that stuff, you're not going to be absorbing the nutrients that you're taking efficiently. So, you'll be drinking it all down, but maybe you'll only be absorbing 30% of it.
Oh, okay.
And that's like, 3 steps forward and 2 steps backwards. So eliminating crappy food goes a long way towards helping your body absorb these nutrients efficiently, which is of maximum importance. It's of maximum importance, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You can thank me after it works. Give it a ride and call me back after you feel like dancing a jig, and I'll look forward to it. Thanks so much for your trust. From Texas to Colorado, let's see what Lori's up to. Hey, Lori, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. Thank you so much for you. I have fired my MDs.
You go, girl. Yeah, it makes you the smartest woman in Colorado.
Okay, this is, I have several questions. I'll try to be quick.
Sure.
I've been on the Healthy Start pack for about 4 months. The first thing I noticed, major energy.
Yeah.
But I switched to, I've been gluten-free probably for about 2 weeks, so my next pack will be the digestive pack. Because of the way that I've eaten all my life, I'm sure that my guts are not in good condition.
Well, are you suffering from heartburn?
No, I actually don't have heartburn.
Do you have your gallbladder?
I have my gallbladder.
Then you don't need the healthy digestion pack.
I don't? Oh, well, that's really good news.
No, what you could do to up the ante here is get 1 box of the Root Beer Belly.
Root Beer Belly, okay.
Yeah, which is probiotics, and take 1 packet of that a day. One packet of that a day, like right before bed is a good time to do that.
Okay.
But you don't need the digestion pack.
Okay. Also, I'm wondering, the color of my stools, that's so weird to talk about, but the color of my stools is pretty much the same color as the tangy tangerine going in and coming out. So does that mean that I'm not absorbing as much as I should be absorbing?
Correctamundo. 100% correct, which means I'm going to take back what I just said, and I want you to switch to the healthy digestion pack.
Okay. Oh.
Now, there's another thing that's possible here, right?
Okay.
It's possible that you're just taking too concentrated a dose too quickly.
I heard you on another webinar, and so I am doing that throughout the day now. I'm not taking 2 doses morning and night. I'm taking my full body weight dose throughout the day.
And you still have red stool?
I still do.
Then you need the healthy digestion pack for sure, and you need the Root Beer Belly, absolutely. Well, if you're doing the healthy digestion pack, you don't need the Root Beer Belly because that has probiotics in it.
Okay, let's see. Also, I am in remission from multiple myeloma.
Holy smokes!
I know, but this is the second time around, and they did a stem cell transplant, so I am in remission. So
excellent.
Anything, yes. And I can't tell you how much these longevity products have just amazingly helped my life. But I wanted to see if there was anything else you suggest to go on besides and I know you do, so I'll let you take that away.
Z-Radical. As much Z-Radical as you can afford.
Okay.
No kidding. If you can afford a bottle a day, do it. If you can afford a bottle a week, do it. If you can afford a bottle a month, do it. But the Z-Radical has a sea vegetable in it called fucoidan, Fucoid, like David A.N. Fucoidan. There are over 1,000 published studies on what fucoidan does to the body. Now remember, we don't treat cancer. It's illegal. We don't treat any disease
support and promote.
Here. We do. We support and promote the structure and function. In this case of your immune system, and the fucoidan is most excellent towards that end. So you can't go wrong with that.
Now, the tumors that I have had have been in my bones. So would it also do well for me to add more osteo effects?
Yes, it's never a bad idea. And glucogel as well.
Okay, and how much glucogel?
Well, the recommendation there is 1 bottle of the liquid glucogel plus per 50 pounds per month.
Okay.
I don't know that I do extra calcium. I mean, how much do you weigh?
I weigh, the last time I got weighed, I'm going to say 170.
Okay, so you should be doing 2 bottles of liquid calcium a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do 4 bottles of liquid glucogel a month.
Okay.
I'd be doing 4 selenium a month. And 2 healthy digestion packs a month. No problemo.
Okay. Awesome. That sounds good. I will do that, and I just became a member, so I'm looking at your chat and also on the phone. So that's great.
That's great. Isn't this great? I mean, yeah. So Lori from Colorado is not only calling me up, but she's also watching the live video stream, and you should too. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen, the Dr. Glidden Show.tv. Appreciate you, Lori. Call us back every week with an update, won't you? I'll look forward to that. Really, you're welcome very much. This is, what we do. What else are we going to do, quite frankly? So, folks, this is it, right? We're up against stuff, and nobody knows any of this stuff. Everybody needs to know all of this stuff. And so how the heck are we going to do that? Well, there's only so much one person can do. That's why Dr. Wallach, in his wisdom, formed Youngevity into a network marketing company to generate a grassroots coalition. So you get involved with Youngevity, you become a member of Youngevity, and we will teach you the simple system by which you can turn your friends and family members and church members, community members onto what we are up to. And this word is spreading. It's spreading. It's spreading. You know how much it's spreading? Well, Youngevity consistently grows 200-300% every year. Well, how is that humanly possible? Especially in an economy like this, because of you. And because it works. You've heard the call-ins. You've heard what this stuff does. You've heard how effective it is. And, people feel better. They get better. They are better. Their life is great. They turn a corner with their health. Human nature dictates they're not going to lock themselves in their bedroom and not tell anybody. People are going to tell everybody in their world about how freaking great they feel. And guess what? We will pay them to do that. We will pay people to do what they would do for free. And that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. If you haven't joined Youngevity, you don't know what you're missing. Check it out, drglidden.com. Join Team Glidden. Click that button. If someone recommended you to this radio show, get with them and have them show you the business opportunity. It's awesome. Da 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 da. Must be the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health, inviting you to join the worldwide webinar tonight, 8 o'clock Central Time, for Dr. Glidden insiders and their guests. Not an insider yet? What the heck are you waiting for? drglidden.com. Click on the Become an Insider button and follow the bouncing mouse all the way to the undiscovered country of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. California's up next. Hey, Sue. I appreciate the phone call. You are live.
Dr. Glidden.
Hey, Sue. What's cooking?
Well, I'm calling for my brother. You helped me a couple of years ago, and I'm still on the Youngevity deal here.
Woohoo!
So I'm still doing great. And he has a problem with gout. He sent me a picture of his foot.
Ouch.
And his 2 first toes look like somebody smashed them, and they look like they're all full of blood, which is all red. Then it kind of comes up, and it's red and purplish and green, and it depends, and sometimes it moves around his body. It's not always in the foot. Sometimes it goes to the hand, sometimes it goes to the shoulder. I said that I would try to call and see if you have anything that he could start on to help him out.
Well, the first thing he needs to do is he needs to eliminate the 10 bad foods, right?
Okay.
He needs to eliminate the 10 bad foods.
Okay.
And he needs to educate himself as to what foods are high in a biochemical called purines.
Okay.
Purines, because if he eats a food that's high in purines, the gout's going to flare up.
Okay.
So he needs to eliminate the 10 bad foods, and then he needs to stop eating any food that's high in purines. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Number one. Number two, he should get some concentrated black cherry juice.
Okay, black cherry juice. Okay.
Yeah, unsweetened, just concentrated black cherry juice.
Okay.
And I want him to make an 8-ounce solution of the black cherry juice, and it'll tell him on the label how to do that, like how much concentrate to add, right?
Oh, okay.
I think it's a tablespoon per 8 ounces, but don't quote me on that. And I want him to drink 8 ounces of the cherry juice twice a day.
Twice a day, okay.
3 times would be better. 8 ounces of the black cherry juice 3 times a day would be better, okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, in addition to that, over the long term, we need to support and promote the structure and function of his liver and his kidneys and, quite frankly, his entire body. Because from our point of view, the reason that people get gout is because they've run out of the nutrients necessary in order to maintain healthy circulation. So, you know how much he weighs, ballpark?
I'd say maybe about 160.
Okay, so in a perfect world, he would do 2 anti-aging Healthy Start packs.
Okay.
And 2 bottles of CM capsules, 2 bottles of CM capsules.
Okay.
Per 100 pounds of body weight per month.
Okay.
All right. Now, there's a homeopathic remedy that's a specific for gout in the big toes, and I'm looking that up right now. Are you familiar with homeopathy?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Oakley, dokely, artichokely.
I'm watching your live stream. I just love this. Oh.
Okay, so either belladonna or colchicum. Either belladonna or colchicum, and I'll spell that last one. It's Colchicum, colchicum.
Okay.
I would actually start with the colchicum.
Okay.
I would get colchicum in the 30C or the 200C strength.
Okay.
And I would give 2 pellets orally every 2 hours, 5 times.
5 times, okay.
And if there's no relief after the 5th dose, then I would stop it and switch to the belladonna.
Okay.
Now remember, when we give homeopathy, for whatever we're giving it for, to support and promote whatever we're supporting and promoting in the human body, when there's a remarkable positive change, you stop the homeopathic.
Okay.
Even if he just takes 1 dose.
Okay.
And there's a dramatic improvement, he stops taking it and lets it ride. Now, if 2 or 3 or 4 days later or a week later the gout comes back and flares up, he starts that remedy again, stopping it as soon as there's noticeable, measurable improvement.
Okay, okay.
And when you use the 2 together, the medical nutrition and the homeopathy, and then, of course, the dietary stuff, man, that's a home run, and he's going to love how he feels.
Okay.
We're all out of time, Sue. I appreciate it. Sorry, I wish we had more time. Thanks for watching the live stream. Thanks for everything that you do. Ladies and gentlemen, God willing and the creek don't rise. See you at 8 o'clock tonight, Central Time, on the Worldwide Live Chat. Dr. Glidden, live long and prosper.